Action!
Good morning, everybody. I'm Mary Ann Means Dufresne,
And I'm Chris Quinn.
and it's hashtag Meltdown Monday.
Great. How are you?
I'm great, but it's Friday. We do need to mention that.
That is.
I don't want people to get confused.
We do not want people to get confused, and we've got a great show planned. We are talking about trust
That's right.
and building trust.
Are we trust builders or trust busters?
Wow, that's. I don't know. I've never thought of it like that. Who do you trust?
Primarily, I trust my omniscient being, God.
Right.
Infallible. Somebody infallible in your life is a key thing. And my husband, Matt.
Great.
So family.
How's that working out?
The marriage is pretty solid, I'd say.
Great. How long have you been married now?
Been married 4.5 years.
Terrific.
Yeah.
So what we are talking about are 10 rounds of weave about trusting, about how do you build trust, how do you keep trust, who do you have trust with, what's that trust look like?
Yeah.
Because I think trust means a lot of different things to different people. Mm-hmm. So let's talk about how do you define trust?
I define trust as the ability to build a relationship, really, to do what you say you're going to do and to do it consistently.
Okay. With your vendors, your partners.
Yeah, it's across the board because trust is the key to building relationship, and you have to build rapport to build trust. So in business relationships with partners, with vendors that you're working with clients, it's consistency over time. It's focusing on, it's showing them that you're not self-interested. It's not always about me. It's about meeting their needs. And hey, is that the definition of a marriage or what?
Yeah, I think trust is interesting because it seems like trust is almost built over time.
Oh, sure.
But trust can be so easily broken. Mm-hmm. So let's start with, if you will, vendor trust. Or let's start with personal trust.
Okay. Yeah.
How do you define personal trust?
Personal trust is, again, doing what we say we're going to do, being consistent, not lying, which I know we're going to talk about in another context as well. Truthfulness, honesty, integrity, all those things wrapped together. And in a personal relationship, creating a safe place. I really like the idea of a love bank account, that just like we have our financial accounts, we're putting in deposits and taking out debits all the time based on our interactions. And that kind of can serve as an equilibrium. And we think about it more in a personal relationship because we use the context of love, but that could be any relationship. I have a love bank account with my clients too. How many things am I doing for them, and how many things am I doing that disappoint them?
Right. So a lot of times when we talk about you saying lying, but a lot of times when we talk about we lie to protect.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, and you were talking a little bit about lying to your kids, which, I don't lie to my kids. But when it's convenient for us, sometimes we do.
Right.
And we're not teaching them the value of being honest and dealing with the consequences, and that relationships can be murky and muddy. And, and we mentioned trust busting. We have to have grace in relationships too, and we can have that grace and have forgiveness when people approach us with honesty.
Right.
You had an example of times that we lie to our children.
What was it?
Well, I'm thinking back to, I'll give you this money, but don't tell Dad.
Right. Well, and I think the thing is that it all crosses over from a standpoint of, or the car,
Yeah.
or there's all these different ways that we can justify it, because I think it then crosses over to business. I'm managing 25 people and I'm going to let you do this, but let's not tell everyone else.
Right.
So I think that the longer we're with someone, the more
Mm-hmm.
things that kind of bend over.
It's true.
And how do we define trust, and what does that mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because it means we want to trust people, but like I said to you in our text this morning, we were kind of going back, and I said, "Can I trust you?"
Yeah.
And your response was,
Trust no one.
"Trust no one."
Was it shocking?
So my question is, do you trust me?
I trust you.
Would you trust me with Hogan?
I trust you with hope. I'd want to test your diapering skills and stuff.
Okay, but so would you trust me on a Friday night to take Hogan to Sundance Square?
Totally, yeah. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I'd have Kyle videoing just to be sure everything's
Right.
kosher.
Right. So it's kind of this definition of trust and how we define trust and
Right.
what that may. Do we trust our friends? Do we trust our vendors? But how? What does that mean when we say do we trust them?
Sure.
And where that kind of goes.
And how far do we trust them?
Right.
In what context?
Right.
Yeah.
Because we were kind of talking about, and this kind of goes into our, because what we're really all talking about is that we trust, but how does that then parlay into our business?
Right. Do we do business with people we don't trust? If I do, it's something that is not as significant to me. It's like I'm gonna test out if I haven't built trust yet, I'm not going to hand something over to this person that's of high value to me. Right? I might test it out with something where the consequences are lower. So if it's a big deal, I want someone I'm working with that has professional esteem from the community, they have personal integrity. I've seen them handle a similar situation effectively.
Right.
And that goes back again to consistency. And how do you build a reputation? It's by performing at a high level over time.
Right. And that's why LinkedIn is so fantastic, because it's a great resource to go in, do your background, find out,
Yeah.
because so often people want the lowest bid, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I think in the day we had a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to hire you because of that relationship and I trust you.
Right.
Now I feel that it's more about price.
Well, we've got so much data at our disposal now. I can go research and find prices on 10 different companies.
Right.
And then you've got low switching costs if you're just looking at price.
Right.
And just the simple value someone brings. And so when we think about how do we overcome that as people, because we naturally have a sense of how we can, of whether we can trust someone in our lives. But when we're looking at growing our own businesses and how to build trust, it is through relationship. And it's through thinking about what the other person desires and what their values are. And how do you know what their values are? By actually getting to know them, having conversations, investing in people.
Right. Okay, so that really brings us down. So, trust. Who do you trust? How do you define trust?
Mm-hmm.
What's the difference between loyalty and trust? Because in the day, we would have a contract.
Mm-hmm.
Today, it's kind of per project, if you will.
Sure. And employment. People would be loyal to a particular employer. Why? Because they expected that employer to be loyal to them.
Right.
So now it's both sides. People don't stay with an employer as long because there's fear that they won't be kept on. So that's a relationship again.
Right.
Yeah.
You're watching Meltdown Monday on Friday, Labor Day weekend.
Yay!
We're talking about trust.
Mm-hmm.
Trust.
Who can you trust?
Who can you trust? It's that song, Who Do You Love?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know who wrote that song?
No. Who wrote it, Chris? Tell me.
Who do you love? Who do you trust?
I trust you to tell me who wrote it.
Yeah. We are giving away tacos at Taco Casa on Tuesday of next week.
Yum.
A dozen tacos if you can tell us who wrote Who Do You Love. Just put it in the comments right there. Oh no, the comments are coming in nonstop. Oh, tell us who, Kyle.
George Thorogood.
Yes!
Yay,
Right
free
on, baby! I can't believe I didn't know that.
Spoilers.
George Thorogood is my man. One of the greatest guitarists of all time. Of course I knew that.
Okay, to build trust with Kyle, you have to follow through on that
I
commitment
will.
to 12 tacos.
12 tacos at Taco Casa.
On
Feed me
Tuesday.
tacos.
Tacos! Everyone loves tacos. Alrighty, so does trust exist?
Trust exists. Yeah. We're optimists here.
Okay,
Yeah.
trust exists.
Trust exists.
Um,
Affirmative.
Great. Trust does exist. And when it comes truth in someone or something, storytelling,
You know what's also important we haven't talked about is vulnerability.
okay,
One of the Dale Carnegie principles is if you were wrong, admit it quickly and emphatically. And we're we're human. We're going to be wrong. So when we identify that, we very quickly, very promptly say, I messed up. And you talk about you create vulnerability in the relationship, which creates safety and builds trust. That's huge as an employer, as a friend, as a partner, as a spouse, as a parent. That's really a key thing as a parent, is that you don't set yourself up. I read this, I only have a 7-month-old, but you don't set yourself up as an infallible being, because everything that we do, we're teaching our kids how to be moms and dads and employees and employers and parents one day. And
Right.
they have to see us live all these different aspects of life, and we mess up,
Yeah.
but we can work to fix it.
Yeah. I think everything you say, everything you do
Mm-hmm.
with your kids, with your employers, with your coworkers, with your friends, sets an example of trust.
That's right.
And you can't cross that line. What you say is an example.
Yeah.
So
That's
trust is so important.
We have to be honest with ourselves too.
Right.
It takes some introspection and
Absolutely. So think about it. Think about who you're working with, and be honest with them. I think that's the other thing. That was one of the things that I find a lot of times, that people just don't want to be honest and say we have an existing relationship, or that's
Yeah.
something that we're doing in house, or that's something that everyone knows somebody, right?
sure.
But it's okay to be honest and truthful, rather than I think they feel like they're going to hurt your feelings.
Do you mean like if you're turning down business?
Right.
Yeah, because, and from the person that's trying to get the business, I want to know what their current situation is, and I want to keep in mind that it could change.
Right.
They may have someone in house right now, but there's a different level of work they need, or that person takes another job opportunity, and I want them to know when they need me, I'm there.
Right.
So we don't need to be afraid of hearing no, because it's not necessarily no, it's not right now.
Right.
And we should feel okay about being honest and saying, this is my current situation,
Right.
but I would really like to hear about what you do so that I know, or I can refer you to someone else.
We're going to learn more from someone being honest with us
100%.
from
yeah,
someone not shooting straight with us. So
That's right.
we love LinkedIn.
absolutely. Thumbs up on LinkedIn.
Love LinkedIn.
Great tool.
Great tool. What do you have planned for Labor Day?
We're headed down to Nacogdoches.
Great.
Matt's family is there, going to be out on the lake, and Hogan will get to see his grandparents and cousins.
Fantastic. Everyone have a fantastic Labor
What
Day.
about you? What are you doing?
Everyone have a fantastic Labor Day. Watch us on hashtag Meltdown Monday. We'll be back next week and every week. We appreciate your support. It's been a lot of fun.
It's so much fun.
And we've got a lot of exciting things planned this fall. And we look forward to seeing all of you on.
Hashtag Meltdown Monday.
I'm Chris Quinn.
Mary Ann Means Dufresne.
We'll see you soon.
Bye now.